Ludicrous feed is proudly sponsored by Carloop, Evee and Warbox.
Hey everyone, Tom here from Ludicrous Feed. Thank you so much for joining us. In my garage behind me is the model year 2024 long-range single-motor Polestar 2 with an 82 kilowatt-hour battery, usable range of about 79 kilowatt-hours, and a WLTP claimed range of 655 kilometers. Many thanks to Polestar Australia for loaning me this vehicle for the next few days. We are going to be doing a range test in this vehicle tomorrow, going from Sydney to Melbourne, and then a few days later, back from Melbourne to Sydney. Sydney to Melbourne is about 890 kilometers. So, you know, in ideal conditions, we can possibly do this in one stop, which I'd love to do. That is one charging stop. But looking at evdatabase.org, in mild weather in the city, you're looking at about 650 kilometers. On the freeway at 110 kilometers an hour, they're saying that this car can get about 450 kilometers. So tomorrow I'm planning to drive at about 100 kilometers an hour on the Hume freeway. Hopefully we can drive up to 500 kilometers with a 100% charge. So we'll see. I'd love to be able to do Sydney to Melbourne in one charging stop. Otherwise, I'll have to settle for 2 charging stops. Regardless, I'll be stopping along the way every couple of hours just to rest my legs and to charge myself with a bit of food and drink as well. I'll be driving with the family too and with some luggage in the back as well. So we'll see how we go tomorrow as we drive the Polestar 2 long-range single motor. Come join us. So between the model year 2023 and 2024 cars, there's actually not too much difference when it comes to looking at the Polestar 2 from the outside, except that the model year 2024 car has this smart zone here, which is where the grille used to be for the Polestar 2. Of course, electric cars don't really need grilles, but now the Polestar 2 2024 has taken a leaf out of the Polestar 3's design, and they've incorporated all the tech in the car, such as the radar, the cameras, the sensors, all in this front part called the Smart Zone. So if you see a Polestar 2 with a flat area like this, the Smart Zone, then you know it's the model year 2024 version. So in New South Wales, the base version of the model year 2024 long-range single motor will set you back about 74,000 Australian dollars drive away. This car actually is spec'd up with the Plus pack and also the Pilot pack as well. So you're looking at about $87,000 drive away. So the Pilot pack has some driving improvements such as adaptive cruise control and also some improved lights as well. The Pilot pack, which this car is also equipped with, has some convenience and luxury improvements on the inside, such as improved sound system. It's got the Harman Kardon system. It's also got the panoramic sunroof up the top here as well, and also upgraded upholstery throughout the cabin, making it look very nice indeed. And also it's got interior lighting too, to make it look extra swish at night time. So when I picked up the car this morning from MSR, 100% state of charge, it said that it had 530 kilometers of range. So we'll see exactly how much we can get in the real world tomorrow on the road. Okay, and in case I forget in the morning, I'm just going to reset the trip computer. There we go, that's the trip manual side. So we can log our efficiency and the distance traveled as well. So let's click to reset. There we go. So there we go. Trip manual is now completely reset. We can see what it looks like along our journey. Okay, so I plugged the car in and it's going to be charging off my Wallbox charger right there. Of course, I will do a full review of this Wallbox Pulsar Max very shortly, but it is all very much app-based, as you can see. And because there's no green energy currently, because it's nighttime, the next available charge will be between midnight and 4 AM, which I have set for this charger because that's when I get cheaper electricity. So we will make sure we've got 100% charge for the Polestar 2 before our journey to Melbourne tomorrow. Okay, so it's 7:17 AM and we've got 100% state of charge, 530 kilometers apparently. Let's hit the road. Alright, so good morning everyone. We are on the Hume Freeway or the Hume Highway, and we've just left Sydney and we're on the outskirts now of Greater Sydney and on the way to Melbourne, of course. Just to discuss today's plan, I'd love to do a one-stop strategy and just charge once, like at the midway point, either at Tarcutta, which is literally between Sydney and Melbourne, the midpoint, or charge at Albury, which is Barnawartha North. But I think most likely it'll be a 2-stop strategy, stopping probably at Gundagai and then probably Euroa and Victoria. So we'll see how we go with the car's range as we keep driving. Just a bit about the setup with the Polestar 2. It's, you know, as you can see, it's a very luxurious finish. It's a lovely car to drive. Unlike the Tesla, which is very minimalistic, there's a bit more detail with the finish for this car, which gives it a more luxurious feel, which some may enjoy. I certainly do enjoy driving it every now and then. We've got two screens. We've got the binnacle screen in front of me here, which I've got route guidance for Google Maps. And Google Maps in this car, it's one of the very few EVs, apart from Tesla, that has got trip planning when it comes to charging stops too. We'll go through that shortly. And then on this center screen, we've got the Waze as well, which those of you who watch my channel regularly will know that I love Waze because you can see obstructions on the road and other things like police patrol as well. So let me just quickly run through the route guidance for this Polestar 2. Let me just pop it up here and put up maps. So if you go to this setting here, we've plugged in Melbourne earlier, and it's telling me that we can actually get to Melbourne from this point on a two-stop strategy. If we stop at Jugiong and then stopping again at Albury, which is Barnawartha North. But we'll see how we go. As I said, would love to be able to just stop once, but I think 2 stops is very much achievable in this car. One more thing I do like about this car is that it's got range assistant, and it's got 450 kilometers projected range, and the instant consumption, which is 28 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. And currently I'm doing a low driving consumption, and climate's also low consumption as well. We've got eco climate off because I do like enjoying the air conditioning in the vehicle. One more thing you can use to estimate how efficient your driving is if you just go to, I'll just go back to Waze for 1 sec. So I've got my trip computer up here on the center screen. So we've got the trip manual on the left there saying that we've driven 70 kilometers so far, an efficiency of 13.7 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. We started the journey with 530 kilometers projected range, so according to this, I think we've actually driven more than what the car has projected initially. So I think we're doing better than what the car's kind of rated range is. And also to help efficiency today, I'm going to drive at 100 kilometers an hour rather than going 110 to try to maximize the amount of kilometers we can get out of this car today. Ideal weather conditions today, sort of mild weather. It is, what are we at the moment? 15 degrees Celsius and light wind, so that should help with efficiency. And it's pretty flat just driving along the Hume Highway as well. So all these things are in our favour today. Shouldn't be any rain and shouldn't be too much inclement weather too. In terms of comfort, we've got the Plus Pack, got the Pilot Pack as well in this car. We've got the panoramic sunroof, so we're enjoying the view out from outside into the cabin. The one negative I would say about this car is that if you can pan down to the second row, there's no flat floor, so that bump in the middle is just a remnant of the XC40 platform. So there's just slightly less room for passengers in the second row. So having that second row flat would be great because then you can put more storage, even if you don't have a third passenger in that second row, to put bags and things in that floor. Okay, so like I said, 2-stop strategy, hopefully 1. But we will probably still have to stop along the way to stretch our legs and have some food. I'm planning to stop at Sutton's Forest once to have something to eat, stretch our legs, go to the toilet. Stop probably at Gundagai to plus or minus charge. I'm not sure at this stage, we'll let you know. Stop again at Albury, Barnawartha North, and then stop once more at Euroa, either to charge or stretch our legs, and then finally into Melbourne. So 4 stops, of which 1 or 2 will be charging along the way. Oh, one more thing too, just on the highway, I'm on cruise control, adaptive cruise control, and also auto steer, or they call it pilot, I think. And then the auto steer and the adaptive cruise control is only available with the pilot pack, as we went through earlier in the video. So there's the cruise control, there's the pilot, which is basically the lane keeping, and you can also adjust how close you want to follow the car ahead, like that. So these, see that, up and down like that, and you can control that using the buttons on the steering wheel here. And I've found so far in the short drive we've done that the cruise control is pretty good. It does, unfortunately, when you're on an incline, it does tend to offset by 3 kilometers an hour, which can cause issues if you're worried about speed or police patrols or speed cameras. But otherwise, the lane keeping is not too bad. You've got to wiggle the wheel every now and then, otherwise it'll beep, and just to make sure you are still awake. All right, everyone. We'll see you very shortly at Sutton's Forest for the first stop. just stretch our legs, have some breakfast, and I'll see you then. Okay, so just a brief pit stop at Sutton Forest, aka Sally's Corner. Good place to charge your car. There's Tesla superchargers, and also on the northbound side there's also Evee DC fast chargers there as well. Service station on the left, and a McDonald's and Heather Brace Pie, so a good place to stop. I had to fight every urge not to charge the car, because I sort of drummed into me driving an EV to charge all the time, but yeah, 65% state of charge, so we've got plenty at the moment, so we'll keep driving onward on the Hume Highway, and I guess the aim is to keep driving to at least Gundagai, and then we'll see how we go from there. Alright, so we're 50% state of charge at the moment, and I'll just show you the trip computer. So we've done 227 kilometers. Efficiency has worsened a bit because we're on the highway now. Also other factors such as it's quite gusty at the moment, so we're probably driving into a headwind at times. I've been trying to negate that by driving close to like big trucks like this, so that sort of creates a little break for me to try and improve my aerodynamics a little bit, and also driving a bit slower, 100 kilometers an hour. But certainly since we last talked about efficiency, it's gotten worse. It was sitting around 13 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers in the city. Now it's sitting around 17, so as to be expected on the freeway. So with 50% state of charge, 228 kilometers driven, we can expect to get about 450 kilometers in total range with 100% state of charge. So I think at this stage we'll probably have to look at a two-stop strategy, because I don't think we can get to that halfway point. Because I know Takata is about 450 kilometers, so it's very much touch and go. So if you want to be comfortable on this trip, then I think it's going to have to be a two-stop strategy. And besides, Takata has only got one stall working at the moment, so that unfortunately is the reality still in 2023 of EV charging on the road. Reliability is still an issue, whereas Gundagai has got three, even though one's out of order, and for some reason they've throttled it from 350 kilowatts to 50 kilowatts, but at least there's two stalls there that I know of, looking at PlugShare last night. Looking at the range assistant computer, projected range of 200 kilometers, so that's kind of what we sort of calculated just then, with a full range of 450 kilometers driving at this capacity. Since we last chatted about efficiency, I've also turned the aircon off, put it on eco climate as well. And as you can see here, driving style low, speed consumption low, climate is low. So we've sort of tried to optimize efficiency as much as we can on this journey. Okay, we'll probably stop in Gundagai for our first charge and probably some lunch as well. Alright everyone, we're just approaching the Chargefox charger at Gundagai here, and we're just going to turn right very shortly. So yeah, this will be our first charging stop, which will be good. I think it's this one, no, next one, where the truck is. Yeah, let's have a look at the trip computer here. So 380 kilometers since we left Sydney, 16.7 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. We've been driving for 4 hours on the road, average 93 kilometers an hour. And like I said, it's always a bit of a decision whether to do one or two stops, I guess. Now that we've got the long-range single-motor Polestar, we could have probably pushed it to Takata, but I guess the risk is that, having looked up PlugShare last night, there's only one working stall at the moment, whereas there's two here. Even though there's it's slower here at Gundagai, a bit faster at Takata, but like I said, if it's occupied or broken, then we're kind of caught out. So less chance of that happening here, hopefully. And arguably the facilities here are more comfortable, because you've got Oliver's there, you've got food over there, whereas Takata is just literally a service station stop. Plus, Chargefox are kind enough to give me free charging here as well, so that has been factored into as well. Yes, the other thing is too, if you charge at, if you do a one-stop strategy and charge once, then, oh, look at this pretty dodgy road here, I'm trying to avoid these potholes. If you just charge once from Sydney to Melbourne, then you've got to charge to 100% pretty much. And charging 100% is always slower than just charging to 80 or 90%, because that last 10 to 20% is always much slower. So I think, two stops is probably more time efficient, I would say, rather than doing a one stop overall, if you factor everything. So yeah, anyway, we'll see. Let's charge up here and we'll find out how long it takes. I think that one of them's broken. I think, yeah, that one's broken. So we'll use this one. 2 out of 3 working today. There's also Tesla superchargers here as well. Got a BYD Atto 3 next to us charging up too. Okay, cool. All right, so we'll keep the camera rolling. Okay, let's go charge up. So got the BYD there, charging up there. Let's open this charge port, move the DC flap. Getting all that, thanks Joy. Okay, so step 1 is plug in CCS2 side, because most cars are now CCS2. Plug in. Okay, that's a good sign, green light with a click. Let's have a look at our app. Okay, so I'm not sure whether you can see that, but we are number 4028. Let's press start. Okay, so that should go. Yep, that's clicking away. We arrived here with 18% state of charge. It's now 11:55 a.m. Okay, anyway, 80% is fine. It's enough for us to get to our next destination, which I think hopefully will be either Barnawartha North or Euroa. Here at Gundagai, we're about probably 40% into our journey at the moment. And I'll just pan across here, and you can see the Tesla superchargers in the background there. And then you've got the Olivers here, which we're going to stop for lunch. And if you're ever here, there are instructions here on the Chargefox board as well to help you out. And inside the car, it's showing 50 kilowatt charging. That's the current and voltage, and expected completion at 1:58, which is about an hour from now. 2 hours from now. Well, I'm not going to wait that long. Probably just an hour is enough. Battery state of charge 22, limits 100%, but like I said, I'll probably cut off at about 80 to 90%. So we'll see how we go. Let's have some lunch. Okay, so 70% state of charge. That's probably enough for us to get to Barnawartha. There's some faster chargers there. This one is pretty slow at 50 kilowatts. It's receiving 45 kilowatts at 70%. So let's unplug. So we'll just press stop charging on the app. "54-minute session." So there we go. There's the stats there. It's currently 12:50 p.m. Okay, let's unplug the vehicle. Pop it back into the charger. It's a shame that one's out of action, and the middle one's been throttled to 50 kilowatts as well. Otherwise, we'd have 2 350 kilowatt chargers here. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, so back on the Hume Freeway now, on the way to Barnawartha North. I said it was in Albury before, but I think it's actually in Victoria technically. Anyway, it's on the Victoria-New South Wales border nonetheless. Look, that was actually a relatively long stop. That's probably due to the fact that we had slower charges there. Not the fault of the car. But in the end, it worked out pretty well because we stopped for lunch. We didn't rush our lunch, took our time, stretched our legs, went for a walk, went to see the dog on the tucker box as well nearby. And in the end, you know, we got to 70% charge, and that's going to be more than enough for us to get to Barnawartha North, the next Chargefox charger, which hopefully will get us a faster charging rate if they're both operational, the 350 kilowatt chargers. And another quick note about the efficiency as well. I keep talking about the efficiency today, but it is the name of the game, obviously, for EVs at the moment. So, as you can see, we're riding at about 16.8 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. And to be honest with you, driving between 110 and 100 kilometers an hour hasn't made too much of a difference. It's made like maybe 0.1 of a kilowatt hour per 100 kilometer difference, which is not what I expected. I thought it'd be a lot better than that. All right, we'll see you at Barnawartha North. Okay, so here we are at the Barnawartha North Chargefox station, and unfortunately the second from the right 350 kilowatt charger is not working. I'm seeing reports of water ingress at the moment because there was some heavy rain last night of that charger, which is a shame. So we've got to use this slower 50 kilowatt charger at this stage. Again, that is the reality of EV charging in 2023 still. But hopefully as soon as this Volvo XC40 is done, we'll hop over to the faster one and hopefully get a faster charge from that one. This one definitely wasn't working, so I'll probably report that on PlugShare. In the meantime, we'll hang out for a bit and then we'll probably go over to the service station for a toilet stop over there. Okay, so the Volvo has gone, and now we're plugged into the one that's working, which is good, and it's getting 134 kilowatts, 36%, so we'll try and get to about 80% if we can. That hopefully should be enough to get to Melbourne. Another BMW has rocked up in that time, so hopefully they can get that charger going. For some reason we couldn't on our Polestar, but that's alright, this one's working now. Okay, so we finished up here at Barnawartha North, and what a difference a faster charger makes. We got to 85% in like half an hour as opposed to an hour to get to 65% before, so huge difference. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Let me back up this way. So it is a one-way lane, so just to do the right thing, we'll go this way. All right, and we'll head down to Melbourne now, 310 kilometres to our accommodation in South Bank. We should have enough charge to get down there, so we shouldn't need to top up again. We may need to stop for a toilet break, but we shouldn't need to stop to charge anyway. All right, we'll see you guys in Melbourne. All right, so welcome to Melbourne, everyone. Melbourne has blessed us with a shower tonight, but yeah, good to be here. We've arrived at sort of 6:30, so you know, overall we started about 7-ish this morning. So, okay, so my GoPro battery ran out, so here we are using the iPhone now. I just want to quickly show some stats before we head into our accommodation. 884 kilometers driven so far, 16.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, 9 hours 14 minutes driven. 99 kilometers an hour average speed, fantastic. And we caught up a little bit with time because we started driving at 110 kilometers an hour rather than 100 kilometers an hour around about Gundagai because I realized the efficiency wasn't that much improved. Okay, let's head into our accommodation.
So we arrived at our accommodation with 23% state of charge, and having driven 891.4 kilometers, I found this quite amusing because at the start of the trip I said,
Sydney to Melbourne is about 890 kilometers, so
not bad, right? Pretty close to the mark. And speaking of accommodation, I just wanted to thank the lovely staff at the Quay West Suites in South Bank, Melbourne, for allowing me to charge the Polestar 2 in their basement car park. And many thanks again to Polestar Australia for putting my family and I up in a lovely and very comfortable 2-bedroom apartment, which we very much enjoyed. It had a view of the Yarra River, Flinders Street Station and the rest of the city. South Bank was a very convenient location for us, and it was only a very short walk to the rest of the Melbourne CBD. So we drove back to Sydney a few days later, and actually that particular day was the perfect, ideal day for driving. Blue sky, light wind, and sitting at 20 degrees Celsius for most of the day. And similarly to the drive down, we only stopped twice to charge, the first time also at Barnawartha North at the Victoria-New South Wales border, and the second time at good old Gundagai Chargefox. The distance between Barnawartha North and Goulburn is over 380 kilometres. And as you can see, we made fairly good time. We left Melbourne at 7:25 AM from our hotel and arrived at the outskirts of Sydney at the M5 and M7 junction at 5:15 PM, where we then rewarded ourselves with a nice dinner. So here's a screenshot of the stats provided by the car for Sydney to Melbourne in the first column, and then Melbourne to Sydney return in the second column, and then the entire journey Sydney to Melbourne and then return back to Sydney in the third column. You'll note a slight discrepancy between the distance travelled from Sydney to Melbourne versus Melbourne to Sydney. That's accounted for by the fact that we stopped in Goulburn instead of Gundagai for the return journey, and the Gundagai Chargefox charger is slightly off the Hume Freeway, whereas Gundagai is very close to the main road, and as I said, we made a detour for dinner before heading home. Despite these differences, the trip back home was more efficient, 16.4 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers versus 16.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers on the drive down. So in summary, the entire return journey, 1,811.5 kilometers, efficiency of 16.6 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, entire driving time was 19 hours and 31 minutes at an average speed of 96 kilometers an hour. If you'd like further details, including the cost of charging, the length of time spent charging, and also the energy consumed, make sure you click on the link to my road trip spreadsheet in the video description below. Finally, thanks again to Polestar Australia for loaning us this long-range single-motor Polestar 2. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next Ludicrous feed video, happy charging.